All right. Azul, I am Baron Alexander Davanescu, the Tuisach, and we are here today to begin proceedings of a living Cosa for the 6th Clerk of the 57th Cosa session. We will begin by formally opening this. I've already reviewed the rules with participants broadly, but everyone is expected to be cordial. Everyone is expected to treat each other professionally, to address any points of order, motions, or other issues by directing them towards myself, the chair. Please refer to people appropriately by title, but also assume good faith, and we're all just doing our best. I would like to appoint at this time a doorkeeper and sergeant of arms, the Senator of Benito, Eric Bonifagiu. If that is acceptable to everybody, I'll wait for objections. No objections being heard. If the Senator from Benito is willing, would you please serve as our doorkeeper and sergeant of arms for this living Cosa?
So agreed.
All right. We had hoped to have His Majesty the King here to serve also as a chaplain to give invocation. In the absence of His Majesty and in the interest of time, I'm going to move on and just skip an invocation for this time, unless there are any objections heard. No objections having been heard, we will proceed on to apologies. I would like to invite party leaders in order of the proportion of the vote that they received to make apologies for any members of the Cosa who were not able to be in attendance here today. If they would like to do so, it is not required. And once the parties have finished, I will ask our doorkeeper and sergeant of arms, who is also the Mencier, to give apologies for any senators who wish those apologies given. So we'll begin with the leader of the opposition, Senator Zara Camprada.
Thank you, Tuishak. I offer apologies for the following members of the Cosa who are unable to attend today: Sirex Paul Briga, Litz Chanchir, I apologize for any mispronunciations here, Eobert George, Mohammed Yassir, and Tricard Linger.
All right, thank you. The leader of the Free Democrats, I believe, is the current acting leader, the Seneschal Jan Pledich. Would you please like to offer any apologies for your party?
Thank you. I would like to offer apologies for the member del Cosa, Asafat Del Val, Antalya Generosa Molier, and Uk R. Tarfa.
All right, thank you. And I believe the honorable, and gotta remember that, the honorable member of Cosa, Autofil, would, if you would like to offer apologies for the Parti de la Reformation. You are muted.
Here we are. Thank you. I would like to apologize on behalf of Cosa member Jan Jale, who could not be here today.
All right, thank you. And I would like to state for the record that the chair does not consider any absence from these proceedings to be in any way a slight or a dereliction of duty, because this is extremely unusual, the first living Cosa that has been held in decades. And also because of scheduling, it can be quite difficult to make this happen. So we are understanding of anyone who is unable to be in attendance. All right. I would like to now invite the Seneschal, the Most Honorable Jan Pledich, to address the assembled Zio here today on the subject of this living Cosa and other matters at hand. Seneschal?
Thank you very much. I will begin with a welcome in Talossan that was prepared for me by Mistra and Marcel. We all believe it's very important to have the language spoken more often. So hopefully you will bear with me with the pronunciation, but here we go. Estimat tuishek es odrush membrush dal cosa e senators sint tre glats vidash voi tact ad achatsta la pirma licet cosa vivant perduratio, which in English is Mr. Speaker and other MCs and senators. I am very happy to see you all all of you at this, the first living COSA in a long time. Of course, we've been informed that this is the first living COSA in about 20 years. And so hopefully you will forgive all of me for the logistical difficulties that we had when we were planning this. We possibly should have got the process of planning this started sooner than we did, but the law is very confusing. Nobody really knows what's going on. So I really give you all great thanks for bearing with us as we got this scheduled. And of course, many thanks to the Baron Alexandru, the Tushak, and our doorkeeper, the senator from Benito, for all of the work that they've put into making this happen. I will try to keep my remarks brief. This is the first session of the first term of the ZU that I can really remember where there has been a robust opposition for the entire time. A lot of opposition parties will campaign on, this is the time that we're actually going to hold the incumbent government to account, and then they maybe issue 2 tripulations in the first couple of weeks, and then they disappear and the government essentially gets to go on with their term with complete silence from the opposition for the rest of the 6 months. And that did not happen this time. I really have to give credit to the Talossan National Congress for putting up a real fight and keeping all us members of the government on our toes. And I know that tensions have been high at various points during the term because of that, but at the end of the day, the best way to keep the government doing what it's supposed to be doing is to have somebody outside the government ombudsing us. And I believe that the TNC has been very successful. So I'd like to give everybody, both government and opposition, a round of applause for making it through the term. We're all here. We're all still alive. We haven't bitten each other's heads off yet. So just want to recognize that this. Just wanted to recognize that I think we've all achieved something that's pretty good. And regardless of who is victorious in the next election coming up here at the end of January, of course, I don't know if I've announced this formally, but December will be a month of recess to avoid having to have a general election during the holidays. But that election coming up, regardless of who wins, I really think that Talossa as a community is the most active and the most ready for the future that it has been in a long time. So again, I'm very hopeful for that. One thing that some of you know, but others would not, is that we've recently been contacted by a group of documentary filmmakers who are interested in, they're currently in the initial research stages, but they're interested in maybe doing a documentary series following some citizens of various micronations. So they found out about the Kingdom of Talossa. They were very impressed by our history and our institutions. I chatted with them for about a half an hour a few weeks ago, and I've been in communication with them, getting them some more information about just what we're about, what our activities are like. I've also got them in contact with a few notable longtime citizens. They're very interested in interviewing all of those. They're currently communicating with His Majesty the King to get an interview with him. So again, there is no guarantees that this project will actually amount to anything, but I think this is the best opportunity we've had to reach a large audience in a long time. This is a company that has worked with very many notable people, and the fact that they are interested in us is really remarkable, and it's hard. I believe they've even done a documentary about Paul McCartney, if I remember correctly. So to even be mentioned in the same sentence as him is really something, and I think it speaks to the uniqueness of the community that we have. So those are all of my remarks. I would like to take the rest of my time to announce that the government will be issuing some awards for this end of the term. According to LECSHAC Title F, Section 40, the government is able to give out various honors and awards, and we're encouraged to do so at the end of the term. And of course, what better venue to let people know that those awards will be handed out than right now at this Living Cosa. So the only people that know about this are the members of the government and His Majesty the King, who unfortunately is not here today to announce these awards himself, but I have been talking to him, and at his first available opportunity, he will be making a post to Wittenberg to officially confer these awards. But I would like to say what those awards are at this time. So we will be, it is my absolute honor and privilege to award the Seneschal's Medal of Culture to Gluck Dadi for many years of him running the Talossan Music Top 20, one of our foremost cultural institutions over the past few years. The Seneschal's Medal of Science to Ian Tamaran for his many contributions over the years to Talossan academia. The Seneschal's Medal of Merit to Vitu Marcianis for finally setting up a Talossan bar exam and getting people admitted to the Talossan bar. The Order of the Purple Tongue to Marcel Tafiel for being one of the very, very few people that is really fluent in the Talossan language, both writing and speaking. The Order of the Flag to Tech Dal Nord Selva for many years of selfless service in, I believe, 3 or 4 different offices of the Royal Civil Service, a real public servant, if there ever was one. And finally, the Order of the Flag to Luc Dacheur for all of his tremendous effort in managing our web forums and Talossa Wiki. So very, very many worthy people that it's again my absolute honor and privilege to be able to give this token of our immense gratitude. So I will pass it back to the Honorable Tushak.
All right, thank you to the most honorable Seneschal. We appreciate that. And now I'd like to invite the leader of the opposition, Senator Zara Comprada, to speak on the opposition's behalf.
So first, I just wanted to thank the Tuishak for his organizing of this event under difficult circumstances. And well, I wanted to speak from a point of pride, but also a point of gratitude to the outgoing government for their responses to the flurries of questions that were presented over the last several months. When we were incoming in this term, there was the term fierce opposition, which I took as an invitation. And I am hopeful that this will be an example for future members of the opposition, an example to see how a party and a movement holds a government to account and what that looks like. As the Seneschal mentioned, there have been many times where parties have made promises that they would actually present an opposition, and there have been complaints from members of the current government that that didn't happen. Well, it finally did, and I am aware that as the Seneschal mentioned, there were no heads bitten off, but from both sides there were certainly bites. So no successful heads taken off, but we eventually managed, I think, to come to a point where we all respect one another and know that we are achieving what the purposes are of each party. So I'm very proud of that. About 40 different Terpelasians to several different ministers, and we've We've seen 3 different members of the Defense Ministry, and we have seen a consistent publishing of La Cronica, and we have seen things that have changed from the previous government. So I think that it was a success on both sides. And, you know, I may be a partisan, but I'm willing to admit that there were successes on both sides. Beyond that, that's really all I have to say, is that I'm grateful to have been a part of this. And I'm hopeful that whatever government is incoming, whether it's TNC or not, will continue on the work of the Seneschal and the Freedoms.
All right, thank you very much to the leader of the opposition for his remarks. We are now at this time going to move into the Turpelazian period, where questions may be asked of our ministers. Turpelazian is Talossan for inquiries, and questions will maybe put first by the opposition leader if he has any Turpelazians, and then questions shall alternate between government and opposition members until all MCs on one side or the other have spoken. For the purposes of this living Cosa, we will also accept Turpelazians from senators as well, although we are going to ask them to go last if necessary. All right, so let's begin with, does the opposition leader have any Turpelazians today?
Well, I did. I drafted about 10 different Turpelazians. I'm kidding, of course. I do love those inquiries, but no, I don't have any. As I said, I'm just really grateful for the quick responses from the government and the demonstration of the purpose and the utility of them.
All right. Is there a member of the government in Cosa who would like to pose a Turpelazian to an official, a named member of the government relating to public affairs?
As the only Freedom MC here today, I would like to say no Turpelazians. Thank you, estimat Tuishak.
Right, thank you. Then it seems that we have no Turpelazians from our member de Cosa. Do any of the invited senators here today have any Turpelazians they want to pose to a named member of the government? All right. No one having been heard, there are no Turpelazians here to be asked or answered at this session of the Living Cosa. So we will proceed with Clark business. I want to take a moment to give an opportunity for anyone to pose any points they might have related to comfort or the like, or if anyone needs a break for nature. All right, we all seem well then, we will proceed. We're going to proceed to the Clark business. We will handle each bill individually. I will read the current votes and then call for any additional votes. I wonder if I could trouble our doorkeeper and Master of Arms to keep a record of any additional votes presented here at the Living Cosa. Would that be something you could do?
I can. Just one moment. I need to grab like a pad to make notes on.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that earlier. How's everyone doing? I'm really nervous. I don't like running meetings.
Just point of order here about the counting of the votes. The official counting of the votes ends at the time we adjourn, but there might be there might be a time gap between when our doorkeeper can get the votes to the Secretary of State. So I mean, perhaps the senator from Atatürk can tell us.
Yes, point of information, when the voting is closed, members of the COSA can no longer vote, but the Secretary of State can still adjust the votes.
Right.
So for example, if the clerk is closed and a citizen posted on Wittenberg a vote before the deadline, the Secretary of State can still enter the vote because it was legally sent before, even though the database will not accept that person to vote themselves.
Thank you. That's all I needed to know.
All right. My thanks to the
I am now
Honorable
prepared.
Dama Maestra and to the Senator Versier for that clarification. I would like to remind everyone, again, not a big deal. I would like to remind everyone to address all remarks to myself as the chair and to be wait to be recognized. But that's not a big deal. All right, let's proceed since I see the senator from Benito is ready. And again, thanks to him for his willingness to serve now additionally as amanuensis for us. All right, the first bill on consideration is Sense of Visio, a call to arms. This regards a request to declare a state of war between the Kingdom of Talossa and the Russian Federation. It currently stands at 13 votes in the affirmative, 54 votes against, and 45 votes abstaining in the COSA. And 1 vote in favor, 3 votes against, and no votes abstaining in the Senats. I would like to invite any debate on this issue. If anyone would like to be heard on this particular bill. Yes, I see. I will recognize the senator from Ataturk, Senator Versier.
Thank you, Chair. The point is, when a bill is written, there are practical considerations. We need to see, what does this bill achieve? In this case, the only thing the bill does is it asks, legally, we asked the Seneschal to declare a war. That can be done without a bill. It can be done with a bill. But the point is, what would such a war actually achieve? For my part, I'm fully in favor of helping Ukraine, but I feel like a fundraiser would be more appropriate than declaring war on basically a former superpower, where the whole world is basically sitting on the byline, supporting Ukraine in its war. So, Chair, I fail to see how Talossa could help by actually declaring war when all the allies of Ukraine are just standing in the byline and using the fact that they're not at war to support Ukraine as much as possible. I see this bill as superfluous. It achieves nothing and basically is non-practical.
All right, thank you. The senator, would anyone else like to be heard on this bill? The chair recognized the most honorable Seneschal Jan Plejdic.
Thank you very much. I would like to echo everything that my colleague in the Senate has just said, as well as add that in the previous term, the 56th COSA, when I was finance minister, we in fact did arrange a fundraiser to help the Ukrainian people, which got a donation from the kingdom's treasury as well as from various personal Talossans. So we were very happy with that. I think that achieved much more than essentially declaring a fake war against a country that we have no capacity to fight whatsoever. It would it would not accomplish anything. And if this bill were even to pass, I would be very inclined to not declare war, given that is my organic prerogative to do that. And I will also point out that we do have various Talossan citizens that are also Russian, and I would hate to, who most importantly have nothing whatsoever to do with the war, have no power to cause it to end, and I'd hate to do anything that would put them in jeopardy by declaring a war on a country that they are also a citizen of. So I will yield back to the chair.
All right, thank you. Next, I saw that the senator from Kazambre, Jan Tamarin, asked for recognition.
Thank you, Chair. If you need to say better jaw than war, and we should bear that in mind. Thank you, Chair.
All right, thank you. And I would like to recognize the Honorable Dama Maestra, who is muted.
Merci, estimated. I think we need to see this in the context of Talossan history, going back to the early 1980s when former King Robert I would pretty much declare war on everyone and everything, but only if they were already, only if he thought that they were already going to win, thus providing Talossan invincible moral support. So most, I think he declared war in Argentina over the Falklands, and he, I don't know, he took, I think he might have declared war in Libya once. The most recent example of this was, I believe, in 1999, when he tried to enter the NATO war against Serbia on NATO's side, which this, if I remember right, this created a lot of levity as to what exactly was he going to do, strap himself to a missile and fire it at Belgrade. But regrettably, given the overheated partisan nature of the time, it was used as a stick to beat the opposition with. Like, if you weren't in favor of this declaration of war, what's the matter? Do you love Slobodan Milosevic or something like that? You know, I mean, it was in an era where, you know, opposition was treason pretty much, and it brings back very sad memories. I very much understand the emotions of Membru Langer for bringing this bill forward. I mean, nobody is a greater partisan of the freedom of Ukraine than I am, except for, of course, Ukrainians. But I endorse everything that the people who have come before me have said. And in general, I do not, in general, I don't approve of these kinds of meaningless motions which are brought up, which require Talossa to take sides in macronational conflicts, basically because they tend to produce more drama and upset within Talossa itself than anywhere in the outside, than any practical effect in the outside world. So I would heartily endorse the Seneschal's belief that if we want to help Ukraine, let's help it with financially rather than with posing. Thank you very much.
All right. I would like to recognize the senator from Ataturk.
Point of information, the bill in question where we declared war on Serbia was 16 RZ 29, where not only did we declare war in the bill, we also set up a special court for trying Serbian war criminal. And the bill finishes with Serbia must be destroyed, all in uppercase with an exclamation point.
All right, thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard on the bill? All right, not hearing anyone else wishing to be heard, we will proceed to casting of additional votes. And of those present, I believe we will start with MC Autofield. How do you cast your vote?
I vote contra.
All right. I am next in the roll. I'm voting in favor. And then we proceed to senators who have not yet voted. Senator from Kazambre, how do you vote?
I abstain.
All right. Does the senator from Ataturk wish to be heard?
Please, Chair, point of order, senators and COSA members are able to change their votes at any moment during the clerk. As such, even if a senator or a member of the COSA has already voted on the clerk, they are allowed to change their vote in the living COSA and should just be called and thus be called to express their vote. I yield the chair.
Thank you. While it is true that you can change your vote at any time, it's going to be during the time that consideration of this bill is heard. That is going to be my ruling as the chair. Unless someone would like to overrule that, I think it would be not in the best interests of order to allow people to change their votes during consideration of a different bill. I believe that would get confusing. And that is my current ruling as the chair. Yes, Senator.
Chair, I agree fully with the sentiment. The point is, even if a senator has already voted on the clerk prior to the Living Cosa, when it's time to call for members of Living Cosa to vote, they should not be skipped in the order. They should get their chance to express their vote once and only once, but they should not be skipped during the turn of order.
In the interest of time, I'm not going to call all present each time. Senator, would you like to cast your vote here?
Contra.
Okay. Senator from Maritime Majestic, the most honorable Pledge.
Contra.
All right. The senator from Benito.
Contra.
All right. All votes, I believe, having been recorded, unless someone wishes to cast a live vote who has not otherwise done so. Let's do it that way. Then we will proceed. I want to ask our doorkeeper and master of arms to please, at the appropriate time, transmit the votes on this bill to our Secretary of State.
Will be done.
We will proceed to RZ 225, the Pig Has Ceased to Be Act. This is a bill which will eliminate the primary intelligence group from El-Hajjaj, it is under consideration currently. Would anyone like to be heard on this bill? And in the interest of time, I'll remind those assembled that if you wish to affirm what those before you have said, that can be done in as little as a phrase. Who would like to be heard on this? Yes, I recognize the Honorable Dama Maestra.
Merci, Estimate Tisha. I fully support this bill. This comes from the Defence Minister, and who has, and it is fully in line with the incumbent government's mission to eliminate red and green tape. If our legal system is Baroque and Byzantine, and the government will support any initiatives to eliminate stuff that we don't actually use and it just takes up space. Less law is good law, and we should only have those official institutions which we're actually going to use. Thank you very much.
I recognize the most honorable Seneschal.
Thank you. I agree with all of that, and I would just like to add that Minister Excelsior has been doing a fantastic job as Minister of Defense, and I can't wait to see how he develops as he continues in public service.
I would like to recognize the Leader of the Opposition, Senator Zara Comprada.
So I first wanted to say I'm extremely proud of the Defense Minister, Branu Excelsior, as a TNC member, for agreeing to participate in the government. And the extent to which he has contributed has demonstrated his obvious skills and his worth as a citizen. I do want to say that I support this bill because it does go some way at reducing, because it is eliminating something that is pretty much sort of like an appendix now. It is reducing the size of the government and reducing the strain on the number of people. Successive governments, including this one, have demonstrated the difficulty at staffing. And so as far as the TNC, we agree with the goal of reducing the strain in government by reducing its size to some degree. And I'm glad to see that some progress after several terms of promises, we're actually having action on that matter.
All right, would anyone else like to be heard on the bill? Okay, no one having been heard, we will proceed to voting on the bill. First on the roll of those here present today, not yet having voted, is Membro de Cosa Altifield.
There we go. Sorry, had to unmute. I vote pair.
Okay. Next is myself. I vote in favor, pair. Then we'll proceed to the senators. The senator from Ataturk, would you like to cast your vote?
Fair.
Okay. Senator from Cazambre.
Pair.
All right. Senator from Maritime Majestic. Thank you. Senator from Benito.
Per.
All right. Anyone not called like to cast their vote live? All right. No one having been heard, we will close the voting on this bill, and I would ask the doorkeeper and master at arms to transmit these the record for this vote to the Secretary of State.
Will be done. I will also just remind the senator from Ataturk that the vote was still up. Thank you.
All right. We'll now consider RZ 26, another sense of the zoo, celebrating Giovanni culture. I'm actually going to ask if there's anyone who could inform the chair about what the appropriate pronunciation of that word is. Yes, the senator from Benito.
The Giovanni people, they use Giovanni. That is
Giovanni.
What they've been using. I live right up the street from them, so.
Okay. Would Senator from Benito, pardon me, would you consider yourself a member of the Giovanni culture here?
Somewhat. I do spend some time with them, occasionally have a pint, things of that nature, and whatnot, but I am a transplant. They are both sort of from this area of Ohio, and are actually very, very proud of the whole Venetian connection and the Giovanni culture and whatnot. In terms of shameless plugs, there is a Giovanni food Instagram and cookbook as well.
All right. Thank you from the Senator Benito. Thank you for the Senator Benito. All right. Would anyone like to be heard on this bill? And I see the leader of the opposition, Senator Zara Comprada, would like to be recognized. Yes.
Thank you, Tioshak. As the author of the bill, it was a pleasure. It is a pleasure to present this for consideration. I have had the pleasure of working with Yasin Taiwas and secondarily with, I'm going to mess this up big time, Vigil Moore Conductor. Both are Giovannians, I guess, or Giovanni. And so I've had the pleasure of working with them on two books of cuisine, 2 volumes now. And each of them have been two of the leading contributors to that project. And in the course of doing that, one, my knowledge of Giovanni, the Giovanni subculture has grown, but my admiration for what they're doing, they are bringing life to the kingdom through what they have done. And to be honest, I did not see as much public appreciation for their efforts as I thought was worthy and necessary. And so I brought forward this symbolic resolution. I'm aware that some members of the body believe that these are acts of posing, but I hope that this resolution, because of its purpose here, can receive support in contrast to the previous sense of the zoo. And so I very much appreciate their work, and this sense of the zoo is put forward in that spirit. And I hope that you'll be able to support it.
Thank you. The leader of opposition, Chair would like to recognize the Senator from Maritime Majestic, the Most Honorable Jan Placic.
Thank you. Back a few years ago, when I was still publishing my magazine, Lost in Taya, I wrote an article profiling the Giovanni culture and had the immense pleasure of looking over an encyclopedia of Giovanni culture that they had prepared. I'm not sure if that entire document has been put out in the public yet, but I was able to look through it, and I was very impressed by the amount of development that this subculture has, and I think that it's very worthy of being recognized by this bill.
All right. Thank you. Would anyone else like to be heard on the bill? All right, not hearing anyone, we will proceed to the voting. Currently, this bill has 75 pair and no contra and 37 abstentions in the Cosa, 3 pair, no contra, and 1 abstention in the Senates. We will begin with member de Cosa Altifiel.
Both as a member of the Cosa and the current maestro of Benito, I would like to cast a very emphatic pair.
All right. The maestro does not unfortunately receive a vote in this body, but we accept that sentiment in the spirit with which it is lodged. And I am next. I would like to vote in favor, pair. All member de Cosa who not yet voted, being voted, will now proceed to the Senates. I believe the senator from Ataturk would probably like to cast his vote.
Yes, I would like to change abstain to pair.
All right, thank you. And the senator from Cazambre.
Pair.
The senator from Maritima Magnetic.
Pair.
The senator from Benito.
Pair.
All right. Anyone who has voted but wishes to vote live? All right. Hearing no one, seeing no one, then we will close the vote on this. I would ask the doorkeeper at Master at Arms to transmit these votes to the Secretary of State for addition to the rolls.
It will be done.
All right, much appreciated. And let me also say that I appreciate the strong showing that the Senate today has made in this proceedings. I resent it as the leader of the Cosa, but I appreciate it. All right, and we'll now proceed to the final bill for consideration today. The Dandelions Start at 14 amendment. This is a bill which will change the way in which dandelions, those under 14, move to citizenship in Talossa. As it stands, it has 112 pair votes in the Cosa. It has 0 contra votes and 0 abstentions. It has 4 pair votes in the Senates, 0 contra and 0 abstentions. We will proceed to the calling of the roll with member de Cosa Altifiel.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Yes, the chair recognizes Dama Miestra.
Yeah, do we? Are we not going to have speakers?
Oh, I apologize. Yes, you're right. I introduced it and immediately went to voting, and yeah. There's a good reason for that, and that's because I am dumb. But yes, we will. Would anyone like to be heard on this bill? Yes, Dama Miestra.
Yeah, I think I should say some words since this is one of my little legislative projects. The purpose behind this bill is to solve the problem of trapped dandelions, which this is something that Luc Dashir, our good friend who we're going to give a knighthood to, has been pushing forward for ages, but there hasn't been a proper response to it yet. Basically, the problem happens where the parents of at the moment, if you have a Talossan citizen has a child and they register them, that child gets citizenship. And the thing is, but this is very special citizenship because grown-up Talossan, for anybody who's not a dandelion, you can only get Talossan citizenship at the age of 14, which is considered pretty much the age of political majority in Talossan. So we have this problem where the parents of dandelions disappear for whatever reason. They renounce or they just get bored, and we have no way of contacting these their children to find out whether they still whether they are still Talossan citizens, even if it is appropriate for us to contact minor children who we don't have any contact with. The safeguarding of minor children is a subject which is very dear to my heart, as in I'm also the mother of 2 children who may or may not wish to become Talossan citizens when they grow up. I mean, I'm not even sure I even want to start explaining what Talossa is for a few years yet. This bill will have no effect on existing citizens. We'll have to deal with that with other bills later. The essence of this bill, the specific amendment to the organic law, is to make it that instead of children of a citizen automatically getting dandelion status, that children of Talossan citizens can be registered as dandelions in waiting, and then will be able to apply for automatic citizenship on their 14th birthday. It also provides that such minor children might be allowed to participate in Talossan society in certain ways before their date of majority, so they can get used to what goes on and make their own decisions about it. But this would have to be agreed both by their parents and by the Secretary of State, but by the Chancery. So this is definitely not about depriving anybody of citizenship who already has one, but it's going to be organizing a way to integrate the children of existing Talossan citizens into Talossa in accordance with both the kids' wishes rather than the parents, like signing them up, you know, if they're like breeding their own voting block or whatever, and also in a way that safeguards the children and safeguards the kingdom should the parents disappear before the children have reached the age of majority. And if anything I've just said is confusing, I welcome questions. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. The chair would like to recognize the senator from Ataturk.
The senator would like just to express that the first natural born dandelion to vote in an election requires the help of the senator in a personal capacity and will need to exit the living Cosa. Thanking everyone and expressing his support for the bill.
Thank you. Senator, would you like to cast your vote on the bill before you depart? Thank you. All right, now we proceed to what I tried to proceed to prematurely previously. Member de Cosa Autofiel, how did you vote on this?
I vote pair.
I would also like to vote pair. All MCs not present who have not yet voted having been heard, we will proceed to senators. And we already have the vote of the senator from Ataturk. Would the senator of Kazambre cast his vote, please?
Pair.
The senator from Maritime and Majestic.
Pair.
The senator from Benito.
Her.
All right. Anyone who has already voted who would like to cast their vote live? All right. Then all votes having been heard, no objections having been heard, we will close the vote. And I would ask the doorkeeper and master at arms to transmit the results of this final bill as well to the Secretary of State.
It will be done.
All right. And let me, on a personal note, also again express my appreciation to the senator from Benito for taking that task on. All right, all bills at this time have now been heard. We will now proceed to the voting on confidence. The vote of confidence does not involve senators. So with our gratitude, you are regrettably excluded from these proceedings. Member de Cosas, though, would anyone like to be heard on confidence for the government? No one having been heard, then we are proceeding. Oh, and with a welcome to a guest in the metaphorical gallery, welcome. We will proceed then to voting on the vote of confidence. The first member to Cosa present, not yet voted, is member to Cosa Autofiel. How do you vote on the vote of confidence?
I vote OK.
All right. I am next. I vote non against the vote of confidence. Would any member to Cosa here present like to cast a live vote, even having already voted? All right, not hearing anybody, we will close the vote of confidence. And I would ask the Master at Arms and Doorkeeper to transmit that to the Secretary of State for recording.
Will be done.
All right, thank you. All right, so that concludes the planned agenda for this meeting, right at about the half-hour mark, a little bit more. I would like to open the floor to anyone who has any announcements, any other business, any motions they wish to make that were not on the agenda and did not otherwise find a place. And I see that the leader of the opposition, Senator Zara Comprada, would like to be heard. Yes.
Well, I just had a quick question. One of my other roles is as an editor of Fora Talossa, the YouTube channel. And I was wondering if, with the permission of the body and if it's legally advisable, if I could post the recording on that channel for the Living Kosher.
To my knowledge, there is no legal impediment. Would anyone else like to be heard on this matter? And if not, we can move to, I would suggest that the senator would like to perhaps make a motion in that regard.
So moved.
All right. Is there a Mick?
Mick.
All right. The motion having been moved and micked, we will then proceed to a vote on whether or not to make publicly available the recording of these proceedings for posting by such channels as Fora Talossa. Please show your thumbs in favor or against. All right, the vote being unanimous, then the motion passes. I have already asked the doorkeeper and master at arms, the senator from Benito, to send the recording to me after this. If you would also like the recording to be sent to you for whatever a public posting purpose, please lodge your request with the senator from Benito. Any other business before this body? Yes, the chair recognizes Dama Miestra, the Honorable Dama Miestra.
Great, merci, estimado Tisha. I would suggest that, well, first I would like to thank the Tisha for efficient and rigorous chairing. We got through the agenda with alacrity. There has been no miedo de toro. We've done very well, and comedy has been maintained. So I believe this was a success. What I would like to suggest is that what we've learned, we have to, based on what we've learned from proceedings today and from the slightly frantic organization leading up to today, that we take all of this into account and we form a plan to make the next Living Cosa better organized and more better organized, and even and perhaps also to amend the law as might be necessary to make further Living Cosas even more well organized. Now I have an open thread in the hopper on the Living Cosa law. So I would really suggest that everybody here, based on what they've experienced, should participate in that. And we might get a project of law going on that to make the law slightly more transparent. But also there is the possibility that in the first Cosa of the next clerk, we might want to do this again. Now, we are not in a position to bind the future, the decisions of whoever gets elected in the next SU, but my personal opinion is it would be really good to have a Living Cosa with the proper state opening of the ZEU, and possibly the king giving the speech from the throne live and all that. So so I would just like to urge everybody here to think about how we can possibly amend the law to make the process smoother and less hair-raising in future, and also think about practical ways in which, if we do this next term, we can outside the law, we can do this in a more efficient and perhaps even in a more fun way. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say.
The chair thanks the Right Honorable Dama Miestra for her remarks. Would anyone else have remarks or a motion? I saw that the senator from Benito asked for recognition.
It got said, so I just withdrawn.
Any other members of this body, does you have any remarks or motions they wish to offer? All right, hearing none, the chair invites a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is it Mick?
Mick.
All right. It has been moved that this body adjourn and end this living Cosa. Can I have thumbs in favor or opposed? All right. The motion passes unanimously and this body is adjourned. My thanks to all.